If time is of all things the most precious, wasting time must be the greatest prodigality, since lost time is never found again, and what we call time enough proves too little. Here I am at a Thai mountainside kind of homestay. I decided that I had to get out of the place I was staying at because I was just stuck. I felt like there was this routine every day happening and I wasn't doing anything different. And I also just wrote in my journal too because over the last 2 years as I've been traveling, I spent most of my time working on this business endeavor, creating content, being a full-time content creator. Like that is stress. That's why I feel so comfortable on camera now. That's why I could edit in a extremely fast manner. I can pump these videos out in a day if I wanted to. But I also have to manage the other thing too. And I'm working with the editor on the other side of things. So that's the good part of it. I'll also probably want to work with other editors. So if you know any other editors in countries like Vietnam, Southeast Asia, I want to work with more editors so that we can churn out more content that frankly will help the marketing aspect of the other channel that I'm working on. Now, the fortunate thing about that channel is it's already monetized and it's making cash flow, so I feel comfortable with that doing its thing, and we're only just gonna continue the concept of teaching what I've been teaching on there. I'm not gonna push it on this channel. Now, more importantly, on this channel, we are talking about love, fulfillment. I meant to say life, but life, fulfillment, possibly love, maybe in the future. But right now, I think this big topic in my head is living life in a way that's fulfilling while also managing all these grown-up responsibilities. When you first watched my channel, I was 26, 27 years old. And at that time, it felt like I didn't need much, which is crazy because I really did not need much. But as life progresses, it turns out there are bills to pay, things get more expensive, your body breaks down, you have to fix those things, go up to the doctor for monthly checkups and all of that stuff that at 26 I didn't have to do. Like, for instance, my arm, which dislocated when I was in high school, has just started randomly hurting again over the last year. And it's probably because I was surfing. I remember distinctly one day after surfing, I came back and it just felt like something was off. So I can't really do push-ups or put any weight on the shoulder anymore. So one of the resolutions is I'm going to rehabilitate this and go get an MRI and see what's actually happening there. And also my knee has been bad for over the last year and it hasn't gone back to full strength because I went skating and I fell in a bowl. I was skating in a bowl and I fell in there. And it just like is something that as you get older, your body breaks down and all of these different things start adding up. I have friends that had to fix their teeth or they had other medical issues come up. And this is like in your late 20s, early 30s. So you're not really even that old. Imagine getting even older. So in order to have all of this in line, by the time that I'm older, there's this stress of like, hey, you got to make enough money so that you can pay for the medical care that you need at a certain age. So I'm just going to come clean and say it. The last few hours, I've just been laying here rotting on my phone on TikTok. And the reason why I came out here in the first place was that so I can get out of the usual routine that I've been doing every single day, which was go home, rot on my phone, and maybe drink or smoke. And this has been a bad loop where I felt like it was holding me back. I wasn't creating, I wasn't coming up with concepts, I wasn't moving forward in my life. And even here, like I was writing this down. I was writing down in my notebook and journal how stressed I was. I was just laying here and thinking that like, okay, I kind of have this good life of being able to live for the most part pretty freely, like location independent, time independent, and while I'm not fully financially independent, I can buy all the things that I need and the things that I want. I can go to nice coffee shops, I can buy the cool thrift clothes instead of going out and thrifting myself. I can rent a nice motorcycle. Like just now, I just rented a motorcycle today, spur of the moment, and decided to drive up to the mountains here. So I can do those things and I have a relatively comfortable life, but at the same time there's this other side of life that when you have these things, you realize it's not enough, or at least for me it doesn't feel like enough. So I'm always in this loop of just like, what is next? What can I do to make my life better? How can I make more money? And it seems like I don't really quantify these things. So as I'm sitting here, I sat down and wrote in my journal, right here, this journal, and I said, over these last 2 years, I've been so disconnected with the person that I was when I was in San Diego when you watch these videos. Because although I live a nice, comfortable life now, back then, I had all of these things that I was passionate about. The surfboards that lined up the whole living room, that I was excited to surf the next day and to try all these boards, or like whenever a certain situation came up, like the swell coming at the right direction and the tide's right, everything's right at a certain spot, I would use a certain board for that certain spot. And there was just so much passion there. Skateboards, longboards, guitars, we had it all in that house. And also an amazing group of friends. And right now I feel there's this disconnect where I've been traveling so much that every few months I have to make a new group of friends, which is awesome at the same time because I do get to meet a lot of awesome, inspiring people that are super smart. And many times I'm like, damn, I'm really grateful to have met these people. But making friends all the time in a new place isn't always easy. And also there's this aspect of like opening up. Like sometimes you can't just like open up fully and trauma dump on someone, right? Like that's not right. Like you just met them. And with old friends, you could do stuff like this. Like you could bounce ideas and you trust them with their response too, because you know them through all the years and you know how they react to things. You know if they're responsible or not. So these are some of those things that like I'm missing out on. I'm not developing these relationships. And also as time progresses too, my parents are getting older. My grandma is getting older too. And a lot of my friends are starting to live life like a different life than what we had back then. So I was writing here that I need to resolve these issues of that I need to spend more time with friends, like actively spend more time with friends. And then for the injuries, like my arm injury and my knee injury and my body feeling weak in general, like now that I'm in my 30s, and it's crazy because I'm not even that old, right? Like when I was 26, when you watch those videos, I was 100% in health. And so I just wrote down in this journal, I'm like, I need to take responsibility for all of this and make my body better, or at least take the steps necessary and do all the actions to make my body better. And so maybe the beauty in some of these moments of stress, of extremely high stress, even though you're living a great life, like if you're watching this, you're probably living a good life in America or somewhere where most of your needs are met, and from there the stress will help you grow because it forces you to sit down, think about what you actually need to do, and then you quantify it out, and then you figure something out from there. Now let me know if there's a fallacy in this thinking.